The big question I wanted to answer today is, does the Rapsodo MLM2 Pro work at the driving range? So, if you weren't aware, most driving ranges use like limited flight golf balls. It means that, they don't have to take up as much space if people are hitting the ball kind of too far. They're usually lighter, and obviously they don't go as far as a normal golf ball does. They also behave a little bit differently in the wind because they are lighter. And so at the driving range I'm about to go to, they have a normalization that they put on. So it's able to estimate where your golf ball would have gone if you were using a normal golf ball. Obviously, if you're familiar with trackman, things like that, then this is something that you would be already very familiar with. They have the ability to try and remove external factors and work out just purely based on what happened at the ball, where it would have gone under kind of normal conditions. So I wanted to test, you can obviously set the Rapsodo up so that you can tell it that you're using range balls. Obviously, I'll have it so that it can track the full flight of the golf ball. And I wanted to see how it performs versus the normalized trackman range system that they have at the driving range, because a closer driving range to me doesn't have the trackman range setup. They don't have like the top tracer type setup either. And so when you're using that, I want to know if these numbers are actually going to be useful for me or not, because if they're just picking up where the ball goes and it's a limited flight golf ball, then obviously I'm not going to be able to transfer that to the course. So that's the test. Let's get into it. So I set the Rapsodo up to use the Rapsodo range. I set it up obviously for using a driving range, using a range ball at sea level. To compare that to the trackman range, I wanted to hit a few different types of shots. I started with a kind of half swing pitch shot with a pitching wedge, then a full swing with a wedge, full swing with a 6-iron, and then obviously with a driver. So for the half kind of pitch shots, the numbers were pretty close. You can see most of them being kind of in that 60 to 70 yard type range. I thought, yeah, pretty much bang on with what I would expect from these. I think maybe there was one of them that was like a little bit out. You can see varying by maybe kind of 5-6 yards in between them. But overall, you'd say roughly where I'd kind of expect it to be. Then went on to the kind of full length wedge ones. This you can kind of see more of also the shot shape. So you can see that both of them are matching pretty well. A little bit of a random number there on the first one. I expect my wedge to be kind of 120 to 130 type range. So 150 feels like a misread there. But then after that, again, the Rapsodo seems to maybe overestimate the distances a bit, but overall, I mean, pretty close. And in terms of the kind of direction, seem like reasonably good. Then jumping into a 6-iron. These ones were probably the closest. I'm pretty sure there was like one maybe slightly strange reading from the Rapsodo. Again, I'd expect this to be like maybe 175, 180 yards. So the first one there they read as very similar. The second one with the Rapsodo predicted quite a sort of long shot there, where the trackman range was more consistent, about that kind of 175 mark. Again, shapes being very consistent. You can see obviously that kind of fade starting at the middle and drifting a little bit right of the target, and the numbers being pretty close. Then went into driver, and this is where I really started to notice the big separation. So the Rapsodo was returning a much, much shorter distance than the trackman. You can see on the first one there, it's giving me 230 versus the trackman up at more like 260. And then on this one, you can see at the bottom of the screen that it's got, about 120 miles an hour club speed, 161 ball speed on the Rapsodo, but only 250 yards versus about 280 on the trackman. So you can see that it's massively underestimating the distance that I got with a driver on the Rapsodo. So my conclusion then from doing that test is I would definitely not be using my Rapsodo at the driving range. Now, if you're especially maybe based in the US, you have a much longer driving range and they're using, proper golf balls rather than kind of range or limited flight golf balls, then probably it's absolutely fine.
really, I think you could see by the way that the distance got more separated, the kind of longer that the shots were. For me, that really was evidence that it was tracking the ball. You could see that the shapes of the shots were the same between the Rapsodo and the trackman range. So it was picking it up and tracking it well, but it wasn't able to make a compensation for the fact that it was not a normal golf ball. So yeah, if you don't have that problem, you have, more premium kind of driving range, better golf balls, more space, things like that, then I think the Rapsodo will work fantastically well. Obviously it's a Doppler radar, so that's when it's kind of in its element. But I think if you're based somewhere, maybe you're thinking about using a Rapsodo because they get more accurate numbers than if your range already has either Top Tracer or trackman, or maybe you use a driving range where you don't actually have any kind of system like that and you're thinking about using it. I think it would not be well suited to that. So the main reason I bought mine was for use at home, using it with the RBT balls. I actually did a video on the main reasons that I think it's a fantastic launch monitor, and really where it kind of comes into its own. But definitely, I've taken it to the range a few times. I think the only numbers that were pretty accurate versus the trackman ones were with wedges. But to be honest, those numbers are the ones that I trust the least, in the sense that with wedges, obviously, the amount that the ball grips to the face, the spin, the launch, how it reacts and things like that. That's when using premium golf balls is even more important. So then using kind of harder range balls, even though the numbers were closer, I think they're probably the ones you'd see the biggest difference versus, if I was doing that with a Pro V1, just as an example, I think you'd see the ball behave very differently. So I certainly won't be using my Rapsodo at the driving range. I would just be using it at home. So just think about what is the kind of situation that you're planning on using it for and whether it's a good fit for you. Say I wanted to test it out, and definitely I wouldn't be bringing it with me. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've used it, what you bought it for, and if you enjoyed the video, please drop a thumbs up, leave a comment. It really makes a massive difference to how many people YouTube shows the video to. So I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.